What was the toughest thing you've ever had to do for your career?
That was definitely when I kind of made the decision to leave day-to-day operations of Wine Library and do something with AJ. I always know I wanted to do something with AJ. As he got older, it became more obvious that he wasn't going to work with my dad, so it wasn't going to be the expansion of Wine Library. The liquor laws were, back to the screw you Texas, were tough, like interstate shipping. My Twitter and Facebook and Tumblr investment, the timing just all worked out that it was obvious to me that it was time for me to do something else. But the thought of leaving Jeff DeRose, Brian Delatorre, Eric Kastner, Ian Doran, Brandon especially, my dad, Justin, my brother-in-law, Bobby, I'm giving shout outs right now because I want to. The thought of leaving them from a day-to-day standpoint, and most of all, and this is just the truth, leaving the baby that I built. Like I was such a big part of the growth of Wine Library. That was quite difficult. To start something new, to start something fresh, at the height of our strength. I feel like there was a part of me that realized I was at the top of my game at wine, and that became boring. The climb was maybe over. That was really tough. It's kind of like the emotions are starting to flood back right now. It was a very difficult time, and anger came into play for a little bit. I was like mad at everything around me because I could just start feeling it, not unravel because I've stayed close to it, but luckily I haven't had a lot of tough things. That was a very big positive. Both businesses, they're both doing great and everything's great, but that was tough. That was very, very emotional.
How do I keep low self-confidence from keeping me from succeeding?
I often say that self-esteem is the ultimate drug in our society, and really I wish that I could sell self-esteem because I know the Jets tomorrow. But you want to be honest? I don't think you can. If you have low self-confidence, the ability to be successful is not very high. You're just not going to believe in yourself. You're not going to take the risks. You're not going to put in the work. You're not going to make those jumps. It's why I believe so, and it's why I believe so much in therapy and things of that nature. Anything that can help somebody unwind whatever made them insecure as a child, normally parents, sometimes environment, sometimes one bad kid in school, a disability, something you were born with. Anything they can do to unwind that is something that I believe in, and I believe in communication more than drugs, right? I think drugs are Band-Aids, and I think communication is how you actually get it out of your system. So you don't overcome low self-confidence to become successful. What you do is you attack low self-confidence, fix that, and then open up your door to success. I do think there's something I've figured out. I think my positivity and confidence absolutely amplifies around the people around me. I have watched myself make people that were less confident more confident by downplaying their insecurities and uplifting their skills. And so the only other answer I have besides therapy or a group of people or whatever allows you to get that poison out of your body, the only way to really do it is surround yourself with people that are highly confident and are kind and want to deploy, that confidence on you. So I think the two answers are get it out or find people that are so willing to lift you up that after a while, you just, you know how they say you act like the 5 people you're closest to? All of a sudden you just start changing. It's been fun for me to watch. It's probably the thing I get the most pleasure out of. It's probably why I do the Ask Gary V show. I am single-handedly, and I'm willing to say this, lifting certain people with lack of self-esteem to a higher level of confidence through my sheer confidence and my sheer, pounding them with making them believe. Self-awareness. In this chapter, I talk about reaching high without delusion, the biggest decision I've ever made, and whether IQ or EQ is more important for success in business. This chapter means a lot to me because I think the topic of self-awareness doesn't get enough attention. And yet, if there's one thing that's helped me win over the course of my career, well, I've said that about hustle and gratitude and all kinds of other things in this book, haven't I? Whatever. This is another characteristic that has really worked for me. If I could sell a formula made up of gratitude, empathy, and self-awareness, it would be my $1 trillion coconut water idea. My self-awareness is one of the reasons why I can comfortably say outlandish things and make hyperbolic statements. And I know that the same things that draw people to me turn others off and keeps them away. I'm okay with that because I think I can help more people and get my point across better when I'm an unfiltered version of myself. Knowing how you come across to others can often give you an advantage as an entrepreneur. Take sales, for example. You can set the tone in a scenario, anticipate how people might react, and thus be prepared to address their concerns and questions even before they've been able to articulate them. It's really a valuable tool to have in your communication tool belt, and it's something I look for and admire in others. Self-awareness is underestimated now, but I know someday when I'm in my 50s, 60s, or 70s, it will be the subject matter of the day. If there's a chapter in this book that you would read or listen to twice, I'd say it be this.
Hi everyone, I'm Beth Comstock from GE. One of the things I work on is trying to get a company that's been around for 130 years to remember that it was once a startup and to try to be as fast and nimble as a startup. I'm also one of the many Gary V fans. He knows as much about entrepreneurship as anyone, so I'm really excited to read the next 10 questions in the Ask Gary V book. So thanks for having me. What are some easy ways to become more self-aware?
I know that probably sounded funny in your speakers, and that makes me laugh. Okay, this is a heck of a challenge. You know, if you asked me what's something I could spend time on that's not my business, I would go into two things. One, if unfortunately, I know I talk about some dark stuff here, but stick with me, guys. This is how I keep so happy. If something bad happens in my life with a disease or something like that, I could see me becoming very, very, entrenched in the advocacy of like repealing it and fixing it, and I could see that whole cliche thing playing out. The other one is if I really achieve my goals and become the Jets owner and all this other stuff, and I've got some downtime in my 70s, 80s, and 90s, I might explore self-awareness. Like, can it be taught? I'm not sure. The answer to this question is very difficult. One, I think the only practical execution of becoming more self-aware that I've seen is creating a very safe zone for the 10 people that know you best. Let me explain. Put the 10 people that you know best into a room with you, one by one, by the way, and tell them you're trying to understand yourself better and create a very safe zone. Tell them, Mom, you're not gonna hurt my feelings. Sally, you're not gonna hurt my feelings. Tell them, look, I'm doing this. I know you're gonna say some things that I don't wanna hear. You gotta pound them. You gotta pound them to tell you the truth. But collect that feedback over the 10 closest people to you, gather it, read it, and address it in a black and white way, because the reason you're probably not as self-aware is your brain works in a black and white way, so you need the data. Otherwise, I really just don't have an answer. It's the most interesting thing for me because I am completely convinced it is the thing that brings people the most upside and happiness when they're at the height of their self-awareness.
What's the most common mistake founders make when building a consumer-focused business?
It's funny that we put this in the self-awareness chapter because that's exactly the vulnerability. They misjudge the market. Way too many people are not self-aware enough to know that the market is the game, not them. I never think that it's me. For all the stuff that you've heard so far that makes me think that I think I'm so special, I promise you, when it comes to this, when it comes to the market trumps me every single time. I don't think I have this gift or the audacity to think I'm gonna make it great. What I do is I try, and I try, and I try, and I get results, and I adjust, and I adjust, and I listen, and I adjust, and I listen. Way too many people bet the farm on their intuition, or what they think the world needs, or what they want the world to have. And so it's a lack of understanding of what consumers want, and it's such a big bet. The amount of consumer-based products that actually succeed, your app, your juice, your mixed nut company, your nail salon, these are all consumer things, right? You have customers, is so low. It's so low. For every Instagram, there's a billion Insta shits. And so, you've really got to realize that the lack of self-awareness really plays itself here because you need to have confidence. I want to get this very clear. That's why I'm sticking here. You need to believe in yourself, but never think you know better than everybody when you're thinking about a consumer product. Know that you need to put yourself in a position to play out your intuition, but then leave room operationally and financially to be able to adjust to what actually happened.
It's good to understand our talents and weaknesses, but I fear we'll get trapped into a mindset of telling ourselves that there are things we can and can't do. Poet Robert Browning said, "A man's reach should exceed his grasp." I want people to try lots and lots of things. I don't want people to tell our children what they are and aren't good at. How can you incorporate that idea into your discussion about self-awareness?
I'm doing a lot of that, and these ones hit me hard. This is a tricky one because you've heard from me, and this is where I start becoming a contradiction. And understand that I do think that my autobiography, my last book, or at least the big one, the one I've been holding back on, is going to be called The Bridge. And the reason I'm going to call it The Bridge is because I think I'm pulling equally hard on opposite sides on a lot of issues, including my ego and humility. Here, and you've heard from me, I talk about in prior chapters a lot about blind self-esteem, honey over vinegar. You can do it, you can do it, we can do it. Yet, I'm visceral to a 3rd place trophy, an 8th place trophy. So I'm very big on the beginning part of stuff. Don't hold anybody down in the beginning. But then when it plays out, it's actually very weird. It's similar to the question right before. Then when it plays out, you have to believe in the results and the meritocracy. Meaning, you should tell your kid that they've got a real shot of winning because it pumps them up. But when they come in 8th place, you don't tell them they won. Do you understand? And that's the point right here. I remember Ted Rubin asking me this question, a great marketing guy and very active on Twitter. It's a very tricky line because I think we're living in a world now where parents have become so interesting to me to observe from afar because they want everything to be so good for their kids. They're not letting them accept failure. And failure's real. And so I think you should encourage everything up front, but then you should respect results and deal with the ramifications.
Do you have any tips for presenting your consulting services to a potential client? PowerPoint? Video?
How am I supposed to know? Like, I don't know you. Like, are you good at making decks and that's how you communicate? Good. Do you have a great radio voice and you just want to play your voice talking about it? Great. Have you not noticed here that when I'm off the script, I'm free-flowing, but when I'm reading, I'm not as strong? Like, you have to know you. This is about reverse engineering you. As a matter of fact, I shifted the whole angle of this book. All these answers are, you know what I'm looking forward to? All the people that are actually listening to this book while they're watching the book's answers in real form, because you get to take both answers and put them against each other, because what I'm doing in the audiobook is I'm putting myself in the best position to produce the best audiobook for you. Same thing with selling. I don't use PowerPoint. As TV. Every time TV companies and TV stations and networks have asked me to read from a Chiron, when I co-host, I fail. But when I can just go ad lib, I'm a dominant player. So this question's very easy. Are you good at PowerPoint? Great. Are you good at making videos to tell your story? Great. Are you like me and you can walk in a room cold off of a 1 hour sleep and just go and win because you're good that way? Good. Know you. Self-awareness. Know your communication style. Put yourself in that best position. D-Rock knows he tells best stories when he's got a camera in front of him and he's recording that way. That's how he communicates better than the voice. That's how we all roll. Know you. Know you.
How does humor play a role in business, if at all?
Look, humor's one of the pillars of society. Like, I think it's actually probably, I don't know this, again, I think people cover these in other books. Humor might be one of the most interesting characteristics of a human being. I think it plays enormous. As a matter of fact, if you really look at like Super Bowl commercials, all those brands go towards humor. I feel like humor and high emotion, like tearjerkers are like the two, like, I guess movies is a good way to look at it, right? Like, there's not that many emotions you can play on, and humor tends to work for almost everybody. So I think humor is quite important. I use humor. I use humor as an executive. I think when things are tight or scary, I use humor to break up the tension. Look, but at the same token, back to self-awareness, I think there's nothing less exciting than when somebody's clearly not funny and they're forcing because they've romantically decided that they want to be funny. And so that's probably why it's in the self-awareness category. Good job, Stephanie Land, in categorizing these questions. So I think it's very important, but I think it's only important if you got it. I think it becomes less important if you don't, because if you're trying to force it, it can become detrimental.
What was the biggest decision in your life that made you successful today?
Do I have a story for you? This one taught me a lot of lessons, actually. I haven't told this story that often either. Mr. Molnar, 4th grade science, Edison, New Jersey, Martin Luther King Grammar School. If you were there during that time, hit me up. I'd like to reconnect with some of my old MLK homies from Edison, New Jersey. I got my first F on a test. It was stunning, because in 3rd grade I was a good student. I don't know what happened in 4th grade, if the entrepreneurial juices really kicked in. I was still a little kid, but it was a switch like you would not believe. All A's and B's, I guess predicated on it was basic enough for my brain to understand, and all of a sudden I'm getting F's on a test. Here's what I learned. One, I don't know why so quickly, and I don't think it's because I gave up, because I don't think anybody thinks I don't have tenacity. I realized, oh my God, I'm not a student. I'm not kidding. I was like, I'm a businessman. But two, I learned something else. I actually took that F paper. I was supposed to get it signed by my mom. This was the first time I really lied to my mom, right? Like I took the paper and I hid it in my desk. And I remember going to sleep that night and I couldn't sleep, my conscience. I figured out how to get rid of my conscience pretty quickly there for a while, and then my dad brought it back and we got into that already. But I was scared crapless. I had to wake up in the middle of the night, tell my mom about it, and there was a whole to-do. But it's probably the moment in my life where I decided I needed to own being a businessman. This is weird, guys. I mean, I don't know how many of you have fourth graders. I'm trying to think, Misha's what, 6, first grade, 7, 8, 9. I was 9 years old. I was 9 years old, 9. And I really understood the impact of this F. Like I was some wisdom. I really think I'm an old soul. Like I think I was had wisdom beyond my years. I really was like, oh my God, I need to be this guy. I need to keep doing the lemonade stands, and I need to sell my garbage pail kids. And I'm that guy. And I really kind of punted school. I fully punted school 2 years later, but that was the seed, that F, that test, that science play, that hiding of it to know that I didn't want to be a bad guy either because my conscience got the best of me. That moment changed my life.
A lot of small businesses fail because they refuse to accept when they're not good at something and insist instead on doing it themselves. How would you suggest telling someone they need to stop?
Direct to their face. Mike Tyson punched the jaw, the truth, angry, aggressive, because if they're not, again, this is step 2. I'm assuming you've done the honey. Hey, sweetie, you shouldn't do that. Hey, sweetie, you shouldn't do that. Listen, I think I'm secretly still a proponent for hitting kids. And that's gonna probably get a huge reaction on social, so I'm ready for it. I'm not saying beat the crap out of your kids, but I gotta be honest with you. If the little guy doesn't understand 63 times of honey, maybe a little tush slap wouldn't be the worst thing that ever happened. It's not so crazy that it used to work, that we are in such a politically correct world. Now, Lizzie's not gonna let me touch the kids. Deep down, I'm probably not willing to touch the kids. But it's kind of the energy that I'm trying to deploy in this statement. That's why I went aggressive with it, which is you've got to tell them, and more importantly, sometimes you have to do this, which is you've said your piece, you've tried to help them, and then you just let the market eat them up. That's what I love about business. The market, unlike your mother or your best friend or your business partner, they don't care. They do their thing, and either you win or lose. And if they suck at it, the market will prove it to them because they'll go out of business.
Do you think it's necessary to have an outgoing personality to be a successful entrepreneur?
Mark Zuckerberg, David Karp, Kevin Systrom, Ev Williams. These are the founders of Instagram, Tumblr, Facebook, and Twitter. Not all of them are huge, outlandish, Ask Gary V characters. This is silly. Bill Gates isn't the life of the party from what I hear. I mean, absolutely not. That's crazy. As a matter of fact, I actually believe there's far more entrepreneurs that aren't Richard Branson than there is. I mean, because that's why you know the few of them that are out there. There's not that many of them. As a matter of fact, I think I get disrespected for my chops because I'm a little bit of a character. So absolutely not. That's been proven. That's not an opinion. Let's go document the 7,000 most successful businesses in the last 100 years. And I promise 5,000 are not outgoing and 2,000 are outgoing. There's clearly, that's silly. Let's move.
Hey guys, it's Alex again. How do I overcome my people-pleasing nature?
Why would you want to? This is super interesting to me, and society is very against people pleasers. It's viewed as a weakness. I would tell you that I am a stunning, aggressive, huge people pleaser. And it's the reason I don't fire as quickly as I should. So many of my small, micro vulnerabilities, things that I critiqued already in this book, things that people can say about me behind my back, almost all of them are because I'm such a people pleaser. There's something more interesting. So much of my success, so much of what I've achieved, why I'm gonna win at the highest levels, bigger than all of you listening, is because I'm such a people pleaser. And that, my friends, is how I think about this. It makes me so mad that people have been taught that this is a negativity when I think it's a huge positive. So if you're lucky enough to have been born to people please, as long as you have your balance down, and I've talked about me being concerned long term, that I left too much on the table, which is people pleasing, as long as you get enough for you. You know, I talk about 51-49, so maybe I have a really good balance if I'm actually delivering on that 51-49. Give 51 to the other person. That's people pleasing. You might be 80-20, and as long as that 20 is enough for you, you're good. But if 32 is what you needed, you need to move it up to that. So you need to decide what kind of people pleaser you are, and is that people pleasing coming so much at your expense that you're not willing to do it anymore? And let me explain expense. It's not just money, it's happiness. I get much more happiness out of people thinking I've changed their life than by making an extra 100K or million or 10 million. People pleasing, my friends, is a gift. Nurture it.
You get very personal when building your brand with the public. How personal is too personal? Where do you draw the line?
Well, I mean, I draw the line in a lot of places, right? Like, it's really hard to find pictures of Lizzie, Misha, or Xander. So I keep my personal life very, very private. Meanwhile, there's vines of me sitting on the toilet. And like, I'm willing to have any kind of lighting. And I'm right now, as I'm reading this book, D-Rock is periscoping this to people. I'm always on the record. I think this is a personal question for people at every level. I'm not gonna judge you on what you share, what you don't share. Is dressing sexy too much or not enough? Do you give away your best secrets or not? Everybody's got their own cadence. Everybody's got their own context. Everybody's got their own line in the sand. I don't think I should judge this, but what I think I can do right now to bring value to everybody's listening is nobody should judge this but you. The biggest reason people are being held back is they're worried about what everybody else thinks about what they're doing. Are you self-promoting too much? Are you showing a little too much skin? Are you giving away your best secrets? You should be monetizing that. Don't let anybody else judge your decision on this. The reason this works so well for me is I'm the judge and jury, with Lizzie being the only other voice in the world that can be part of this equation, because I'd like to game my Q kids for some more likes too. But the fact of the matter is, that's it. Don't worry about everybody else, and this will work out for you every time.
What do you think is more important in business, IQ or EQ?
I think EQ. You know, at the end of the day, I think IQ is becoming commoditized. I think as information is at your fingertip on a Google search away in 1 second on your iPhone, how can smarts be as valuable as it used to be? I do think it's commoditized. I do believe that fewer people are born with exceptional EQ, but take this all with a grain of salt. It's because I'm such an EQ monster. My emotional intelligence is everything for me. And I'm sure some MIT person who's the greatest math skilled person of all time, Sally, let's call her Sally, who's made all her fortunes, all her happiness, all her travels, all her successes, met her husband, all the happiness came because she was book smart. She may say that. So what I do think is it's not a debate that information has been commoditized in an internet age. Right? I mean, there's no debating that. I can figure out things that I didn't have to memorize anymore. How tall is this mountain? Who's the president? Who's the CEO? How many ounces in there? It's all there now. And so I definitely think EQ will continue to gain momentum over the next 50 years as information continues to come to us faster, easier, cleaner, and thus becoming commoditized. We're living through this incredible era of massive opportunity, yet everybody's talking and reading and nobody's fucking doing. Start fucking executing. So what does that mean? That means you should write a Medium blog post every week. Content, podcast, video, written, quotes, pictures, and then tactics. What scares me quite a bit is that most of you, when you see these logos, you think of a piece of content that you make, and you think of those 5 channels and more as places where you distribute it. Twitter and Facebook are tools. Twitter and Facebook are markers and crayons. Right. They're a fax machine. These are not just distribution channels. These are channels where you have to natively storytell. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram are ABC, NBC, and CBS. And what I've figured out for the last decade is how to make MASH and The Andy Griffin Show and ER and Seinfeld.
And my question is, how do I hustle and stop being a pussy and attack the world? Like, I want to be where you are. I've got...
What's blocking you?
Some, I don't know.
Other people's POV?
Yes.
That's the one, man. See classic in its style. Wouldn't guess Santa Rita Hills. Yes, that's a pig. Snippy snip. Please, take a step back and think about how awesome it actually is. It is imperative that not only do you start thinking about your content strategy on these platforms for your business. Facebook targeting. I mean, that's it. Like, you can literally put your business address, run a radius around it, or everybody in the 07081 zip code or the 08802 Asbury, Jersey in the house zip code, and everybody will see it in that zip code, in that feed. It's a piece of cake. So if you talk about coffee, Google the word coffee and the word blog or coffee and media company and literally email every editor and writer of every coffee blog on the internet. The way you're gonna make money online, and by the way, anywhere, is by grabbing it. So if I were you, I would do this. I would go to Google, I would type in beer, so I would click this one, pubglasses.com. I'd go to this site, I'd see what they have, I would find the phone number of this place. Here's a phone number. I'd pick it up. Hello, who would I speak to about you guys possibly advertising on my beer blog?
That's me, the owner, Dean.
There's no excuse for not talking to the world. It just doesn't have to be your thoughts and words every time. My friends, the key to content success is you've got to start documenting instead of creating. Let me tell you how. Just start. Guys, I know I look like the Emperor from Star Wars right now, but I'm very high in the air, back from London, headed to New York City. I decided to do a video. So many of you are stuck and can't start. And I broke it down into the what, how, and where, right? WHW, right? Like, what are you gonna talk about? But the way all of you need to do this and how you actually start is by doing. You haven't done anything yet. You know, this whole fake it till you make it brings no value to anybody. You need to make something, and that thing is a manifesto. It's always been obvious to me. It's always been obvious what caused success, what I needed to do. You know, every time I watch content from the internet or on television, watched Oprah the other night, Lizzie was watching it, I was working. She was interviewing George Lucas, and he was saying the same shit.
We took it to all the studios, every single one of them, and nobody wanted it.
So what did you do?
So I said, well, I'm not going to give up now.
You're stuck. You haven't started because you're stuck.
I think the fear of losing trumps the excitement of victory for so many people.
So here you go. What? What are you going to talk about? What do you want to be known for? Look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, what do I want to do every day for the rest of my life? Do that. And see, what people need to understand is the way we communicate today is so different. Yeah. And the platforms have been redefined. You want to be in? The intern is here. Some of you guys might remember him. Or you write it. But the way all of you need to do this and how you actually start is by doing. I create an obnoxious amount of content because of the strategy of how we do it. Don't do anything, just keep watching. Keep watching my stuff. Keep being entertained by my energy. Keep being inspired. Don't fucking have dinner at 7 o'clock and drink 2 beers. Like, when your strategy is right, you win. And so we have figured out that pillar content creates content underneath it at scale. Hey everybody, welcome to the first hashtag Ask Gary V. I think it's the first one, but I actually do think I tried to do this once before. I feel like I've got the team now in place to actually do this more often. It's macro patience. Macro patience. Deploy patience. You've got to deploy patience. You've got to love the process. What's the ROI of social media? So I look at her and go, what's the ROI of your mother? There's so many people in here that shouldn't be producing video because that is not the best way they communicate. Only a decade ago, if I was speaking here, all I would be talking about is blogging. Yet, there are people in this room that are caught up by picture and video communication, and they are tremendous writers, and they don't realize that blogging or posting on Medium, or even my favorite little hack right now, if you're a good writer and you want to build up a profile for your business or for yourself, I actually highly recommend you start blogging inside of Facebook and Instagram. I literally mean writing 7, 15, 25 sentences, 3, 4, 5 paragraphs worth of written content within your feeds that people will absolutely consume. So that's number 1 and 2. The what and how, right? Like, how are you gonna do it? And then where? Distribution. That's what you need to figure out next. And it's the hardest part for a lot of you. Hardest part is to start. The next hardest, there are a lot of things are hard. Hard to start, hard to know what format to do it in, audio, written, video. And then number 3, how do you get people to see it? It all goes down in the DM. The key is providing other people more value. I just don't see people doing it. It blows me away. And it is absolutely, I want the full, and it is absolutely going down on Instagram DM. Influencers, where you pay for it. Either you pay in Facebook ads, Instagram ads, sponsorship deals, YouTube pre-rolls against people of those interests, fashion, you know, food, wine, sneakers, technology, or you reach out to people that have audiences. Search hashtags, click them, look at the account, then see how you can bring them value, DM them, go in soft, bring value, rinse and repeat 2, 3, 4, 5,000 times. So the thing Manny should do is go Upper East Side. Looking good, this guy looks like a good picture. Hey G. Instagram influencers right now, today, for doers, is the probably only behind Facebook ads, the single best arbitrage in marketing. And then you try, and then you learn. When you're a pioneer, you have to taste it. There's no report, there's no white paper, there's no modeling mixed metrics that are gonna teach you how that's gonna work. When you're the first explorer, you have to taste the berries, and hopefully they're not poisonous. In health and fitness, you wanna be in strategy, you wanna be in social media, you wanna be in sneakers, you wanna be in coffee, you wanna be in electronics, you wanna be in fashion. You collect Smurfs, Smurf it up. You could make $70,000 a year talking about the Smurfs. Whether that's your mission or where you're at right now, your truth, manifesto. Tell me what you're thinking about it. Like, if somebody made a video 8 years ago that I think fashion should be high-low, I think people should wear expensive stuff and inexpensive stuff in one wardrobe, they would have been like the queen or king of the vision of the fashion industry just by making a video. Predicting that Facebook acquires Instagram. It's like Facebook's gonna buy Instagram. 4 months later it happens. So I was on Pierce Morgan. This company's 550 days old. How the hell is it worth $1 billion? And my opening line is, they stole it. And then, I guess last year this time, right? Facebook bought WhatsApp for $18 billion. And every article, like the next day after the news came out, is like, oh, wait a minute, they fucking stole Instagram. The how is, there's only certain few ways to communicate in the world, whether this is video form, something extreme.
Yeah.
Like just get on a train and go away for a week, or something different. You have to break pattern. Whether this is audio form, sitting here listening to my music list, and I'm starting to find a little clarity. Audio being a podcast.
You're an outspoken advocate for both hustle and self-awareness.
Yes.
But if you had to put them in order, even if it's a 1A and 1B.
Self-awareness.
Self-awareness
is not even close. When you know who you, when you know who you are, hustle's sexier.
Yeah.
Like, it would have been cooler for like the people listening for me to say hustle, because it's cooler, right? Heck, you don't even do a podcast. Put the recorder on your phone and just speak your truth. As I sit here right now, writing this article, or at least memoing it, because that's how I do it, get in front of a camera, selfie style. You know, I'm old now, kids, so at 40, I've observed a lot, and I can tell you that optimism and positivity is a huge variable. Good morning, Instagram. It's me, Gary. Instead of a motivational quote or some sort of clip, I just wanted to go camera to face, just tell you how much I appreciate all of you guys. Your attention means the world to me. Set it up on a tripod or have a D-Rock. It's your nephew, your sister. Nate, give me this. Give me this real quick. And search the hashtag coffee and go to every coffee influencer and coffee barista and coffee media site on Instagram and DM them and ask them to give awareness to this manifesto you just wrote. And 1 out of every 147 will, but that's better than 0. Undervaluing just that one view. It needs to be the right view, but it's one view is a humongous mistake. That's it. That's how you do it. The what? That I'm willing to sit here right now and make this video, hoping that one fucker says, oh shit, yeah, like, fuck it. Where this written word, you look at the mediums, the LinkedIn, the WordPresses, you start a blog, right? Or you do it on your Facebook, or you do it on your Instagram. How? There's only really 3 core ways in the current internet to really communicate to the world. The written word or video, what I'm doing right now. YouTube, Facebook video, Instagram 1-minute versions. Video is the other way we communicate. And number 3, audio. The boom of podcasts. These are things that matter. What the fuck do you want to talk about? How are you going to communicate it? written, audio, or video, and how do you get people to actually see it? This is where we showed you how to go into the DM, right? Then, or you've got to figure out how to use some money and use Facebook ads and target the people that you're trying to reach. Or grinding hustle, just literally emailing 700 to 1,500 different blogs or media sites and saying, do you want to distribute my content? Somebody has a 14,000 person email newsletter about coffee news. Find that person and ask them. Just gotta ask. And be smart, jab, right hook. Ask them what you can do for them because you want everybody to read this. Post it on Medium and hit up the editors of Medium who curate content. Post a link on it into Reddit, right? Hit up the 4,700 coffee influencers on YouTube and send them a message and ask them if they want to read it on their YouTube channel that has 147 views. 147 views is better than 0. The fucking work. That's how you start. Or 3, like, I'm pretty damn good in YouTube, Spreecast, Twitter,
Okay, all right. One of my friends from Canada asked me to ask you actually, would iPhone photos at some point be considered okay in the marketing world as a commodity or as a way of sharing information? Would that be too far of a stretch to say images from an iPhone or
it's happening now.
It is. I know it is.
The answer is yes, and I don't even have to predict. I mean, there's tons of brands that are sharing and storytelling with the quality of an iPhone, and I think that's a photographer friend question because you guys are overthinking the quality value in a higher quality. But it was kind of like my wine show, right? Like there was no production value, and everybody was wondering why it did well. No mic, no lighting. I mean, I'm doing it now. Once again, no mic, crap lighting. I look terrible. Look at these bags. I'm like, I don't care though, because it's the information that matters. And so, I think that to answer your buddy's question, it's happening now. And the only reason he doesn't realize it or he's curious is that he knows it's happening and he's fascinated by that. I mean, look, Instagram made everybody a photographer. And if I was a photographer, I'd be really pissed. But guess what? Amazon put bookstores out of business, and some guy used to own 1,000 horses and sell them for transportation, and the card put him out of business. And just people get put out of business by innovation. Like, I'm sorry that technology happened. Wineries should be selling all their wine direct, and if they were good enough to do it, then Wine Library would be out of business, right? And so, if everybody knew everything that I knew at every moment, then I'd be out of business. Like, it's just a capitalistic world.
So there is a sense that you have to almost always keep ahead of your competition or
I'm trying to put myself out of business every day.
I know you said that on Facebook or Twitter just recently, and I was like, what does he mean by that? What is that?
And it's something I'm saying for the first time in a little while. That's why I tweeted the other day, and that's why I'm bringing it up in this interview. I'm trying to put myself out of business. I'm trying to think about how do I make my money and what am I vulnerable to? And if I don't do it, somebody else will do it.
Interesting. Okay.
That's it. I know what it takes to get there. And I know that if I eat better and do a lot of crunches and sit-ups, I could have it. The path to that victory is right in front of my face. I'm choosing not to. And so,
author and Jets fan, Gary Vaynerchuk. Gary, thanks for joining us today.
It's a real pleasure being with you. Thank you so much.
I'm excited to have you back here. I know it's been about a year or so since we last talked when your book Thank You Economy came out, and you're one of the authors. I'll tell you right off the bat, I've read both your books cover to cover without stopping.
Thank you so much.
I'm not just flattering you. I'm just telling you the truth, and I'm not the only one, my friend. I've talked to people all the way in New Zealand who have read your books and have said, man, this guy is phenomenal. So let's dive right into how you got yourself where you got yourself. Okay, we all know you got your start as a wine distributor. You've got a phenomenal following thanks to a video show that you started. What really motivated you to start the video show? Like, what told you, like, okay, this is gonna be the way I'm gonna reach my audience?
So I'm a classic immigrant story, right? Born in the former Soviet Union, came to America, and got involved in a family business. And I innovated in the wine business. And then the reason I decided to go to a show, did I chop up again?
You did a little bit, but that's okay. You're back.
I'm gonna keep an eye on it. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
The reason I decided to, it's chopping. Hold on, I gotta figure out what's going on here to see if there's a hard wire, because this chopping must be a bandwidth thing. Give me a second.
Sure, absolutely.
I don't deserve a six-pack. And so this notion that there's all these growth hacking systems in place, every single person in the world, Jason Fried, Tim Ferriss, all these amazingly brilliant entrepreneurs that talk about these efficiencies, they worked really hard to get to a scale where they could apply those efficiencies. I have them. I have huge businesses. I just think working hard is a good idea, because I think a lot of people are lazy as crap, or think and are looking for this excuse of a silver bullet. It's really romantic to think you can lay on a beach in Tahiti while money just comes in, but real work has to be done to get there.
How do you stay connected to your passion?
My passion is people. And so by being a public figure, that allows me to scale that. By building big businesses and having lots of employees, that does it. Writing books and being out there and book signings and public speaking, that does it. My passion is building businesses, engaging with people, storytelling, climbing the mountain, and so, everything I do is kind of attached to driving that passion.
Okay. Tell us a little bit more about your book. I want to know, what is it that we're going to learn about really standing out in a noisy world? I mean, clearly we've already talked about how the photography business or the photography industry is a very noisy place. Lots of people out there, lots of people essentially claiming that they're photographers and are out there even teaching workshops and doing things that at some level seems not so authentic. How do you stay authentic and remain, I guess, the go-to photographer in this business?
A lot of people say the Kardashians aren't quality television, right? Or that hip-hop music isn't quality. I think it's very dangerous for somebody who takes a lot of pride in the way they were taught craft to start throwing judgment on other people because they're cutting corners or they're actually saying things that are wrong. But, I think that the market decides what's quality. And so, to me, it's by putting out content in today's world on the networks where the consumer is. I think that people are spending more time on Facebook and Instagram and Pinterest and Tumblr, and you've got to figure out how to tell your story in that world. And this book is a blueprint. I mean, this is a real utility. This is much more Crush It, and it's Crush It to an extreme, really. The people that loved Crush It, I think, are really going to eat this book up because there's 86 case studies. It's the most tactical book I've ever written. It's the most under the hood of the actual tactics that I use to be successful that I've ever written. And so, I think people.
But let me ask you this: would you say what you've written in the book is scalable in the sense? Would somebody who's just a one-person operation like me or my competition down the road, would they be able to pick up the book and go, yeah, I can definitely make sense of how to do this for myself in my community here, is that the kind of book it is?
It is, much like shit, but at the same token, you have to actually do it. Here's the funny part. People always talk to me and say, well, it's not scalable. I'm like, okay, cool. What's the alternative? Man, it's chopping a little bit. I wonder if it's that office. I don't think it's location-based. Wi-Fi. Is anybody is anybody downloading movies or anything like that?
Fox is like streaming for
Can you find out if they are or aren't? So yeah. Sorry about this, my friend.
No problem at all.
Are they? Can they turn it off or no? They're CMing, right? So they're streaming, right?
Yeah. But the thing is that honestly, that shoot for what I don't know what
I don't know. I'm
all doing it.
I know. I agree. All right. Let me just move location. I don't know. Let me just let me do it here. See what happens.
So far, you haven't cut out. So
I noticed. So I'm gonna try to keep going. Okay. I'll start again. So basically, I'm a classic immigrant story. Grew up in a family liquor store business, fell in love with the wine world, then launched WineLibrary.com in 1996, early, innovated, but the wine show happened because I thought YouTube was the next big thing, right? In 2006, I saw this YouTube thing. I thought it was gonna be huge. I jumped all in, and that's become my track record, right? Jumping on new things, new platforms early on, and going from there.
Okay, so you've got a show and you've reached out to your audience on a consistent basis. Let's jump right into your new book, Jab, 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 Right Hook: How to Tell Your Story in a Noisy Social World. And I approached you because I feel like, as a photographer and as someone who's sort of in tune with what's going on in my industry, I'm one of many photographers, and there are many, many more joining the ranks every day in this business. How do I distinguish myself in this very noisy world? What do I do?
I mean, there's a million ways to do it, but what you have to do before anything else is you have to tell your story, right? We have to know why watch Gary's wine show? Why use Gary's, agency? There's a million agencies. There's a billion photographers. So you have to figure out what your story is. That's hard for a lot of people. A lot of times you don't have a differentiation story, right? You're just a good, solid photographer. You're a great photographer. You could be anything, but it's not a great story. The only story that you really have is your own story, right? It's why I talk about my own story. Not everybody was born in Belarus, and there's a lot of great businessmen. There's a lot of great businessmen personalities out there. One of my unique attributes is I wasn't born in America. The immigrant story is attractive. There's also my style, my uniqueness, and we all have that. And so I think the biggest way you break through is by being authentically you, and then figuring out which channels you over-index on. I continue to find you interesting because I think you do a good job on camera. There's very few people that are good on camera. Very few people that can do this interview that we're about to do. And I remember our Thank You Economy one. I remember hanging up and being like, it was pretty good. Like, there's just like, there's thousands of people that are going to watch us that aren't as good, don't feel as comfortable asking that question, setting this up question, feel intimidated. So we all have to find out where we feel good storytelling. I'm very native to Twitter. I love listening, being involved. I'm the best at Twitter. Like, I really, truly believe that. I think I'm as good as it gets. And then on Facebook, I'm solid. And on Pinterest, I'm average, and on Tumblr, I'm below average. And so now I understand it all. VaynerMedia makes all brands great at that, right? But I'm not great at all of them. And so we have to figure out where we're great. Is it written word? Is it through pictures? Is it through video? Is it through animated GIFs? Is it through infographics? And then we need to execute properly within it. And the reason I wrote this new book is to show individual case studies on how to do it well on Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Pinterest, Instagram.
Okay. So in some respects, what you're saying is pick one, rock it, essentially.
So yeah, you're gonna read it and be like, wait a minute, am I good at Photoshop to make these photos? And you might not be. I'm not good at Photoshop, right? Right. So you may say that, but you better hustle your ass off and go find somebody that's good at Photoshop and trade them photography lessons for their Photoshop skills. Like, I'm so confused by people being philosophical when there's no other choice. Like, great, okay, it's not scalable. Cool. So go out of business, dickhead. I mean, I don't get it. Like I'm so confused by this notion. People have gotten very philosophical without realizing that the alternative is it's not very attractive. Here's the gist. People are spending more and more times in these channels. If you don't figure out how to make the pictures and the videos and the written copy that gets their attention, you will become more and more irrelevant. Just like the people that underestimated websites, right? Just like the people that underestimated search. Just like the people that underestimated, YouTube. And so you're more than welcome. Great. Do your thing. But come see me in 5 years.
Gotcha. Last question for you. jab, 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 right hook. What does it mean to you, and how have you personally used that in your own business, in the wine business or the Vaynerchuk media business?
Give, and then ask. What I'm trying to teach people is when you post on Facebook and Twitter, you have to put out content that authentically really wants to give, and you have to authentically ask. Listen, a lot of people are scared to ask. A lot of people are scared to say, buy my book, or here's my 60-book offer. People are scared. They're crippled by the business ask. I realized that when I wrote Thank You Economy, because the people that got it the best didn't go out and make as much money or drive business results. They crush it. Because Crush It was more for a salesperson, Thank You Economy was more philosophical, and I watched people be crippled by the sale. And so I really wrote this book for the people that are scared to ask for business, and I also wrote this book for the people that are, ready to graduate to a graduate level social media knowledge, getting into the amount of letters that should be in copy, colors they should use, what time they should post, very tactical, granular. So for me, it means give, and then ask, and how have I used it? It's been my whole life's philosophy, right? Like I'm more comfortable in giving first than having the leverage for a rainy day in the future, right?
So a little segue from that, or rather a follow-up question to that is, okay, so again, for photographer friends who are watching this show, what is it that they can do to give, and then what is it that are they going to ask, and who are they asking?
Great question. Giving. I would be searching Twitter all day long looking for photography terms, right? Model numbers of cameras. Somebody's tweeting right now that they don't know how to use this Nokia 464. Like, I don't get it. And you do. And you could search and reply. That's giving, right?
Okay. Yeah.
You could be giving by putting out tutorials or how-tos or filters or things that you learned. You can make a little infographic of like 3 things I learned about shooting on rainy days. And you put it out there and it gets shared on Facebook and brings you awareness because that's you giving, right? And then you want to start building a database, people following you on Facebook and Twitter, that in theory, you can ask for. So if you're a photographer for weddings, you should be following people talking about bridal stuff, and you should be giving free advice. Maybe you even offer, I believe in spec work. Go shoot somebody's wedding for free that was talking about how they couldn't afford a photographer on Twitter. You do a nice gesture, maybe 2 other people there saw you, and they all of a sudden give you business because you did that. I promise you, any bride that couldn't afford a photographer, that tweeted about her emotions on Twitter, that you jumped into and gave free photography for their wedding, she would tell every person at that wedding and everybody for the rest of her life, and I promise you that you would get 5 pieces of business for that one gesture.
Terrific. I'm gonna give that approach a shot. Except I don't do weddings anymore. I do portraits, and definitely want to make my mark locally here. So in Avon, Connecticut, and I'm already starting to do that.
Search locally. Look for somebody that's talking about just having a child. Like just had a baby. Jump in and be like, you know what? Congratulations. I want to do this for you for free, for you and your family, and do it. I don't know what the cost is involved, but my intuition is that you get 5 more pieces of business, and the overall net you made for 5 paying jobs out of 6 jobs. Here's what I would tell you to do. Whatever you charge for that job, I guarantee you that you can. Let me paint you how I am a businessman. Find somebody on Twitter that says that. I do it for free. I normally charge $500 to do that work. I'm making this up. I don't know anything about your world.
Sure.
Okay? You do that one for free. She or he starts telling friends about it, and you raise your price to $600. And then you get 5 people, and then you've actually made your exact nut. There's so many ways to slice a cat. And then we'd reset. My mom built huge self-esteem in me, and I feel like the biggest reason I am who I am today to everybody is because I feel so guilty and so grateful for what she did for me that I want to do it for everybody else, which is, guess what? You suck at a ton of shit. Good. So does everybody else. You're also probably pretty fucking rad at something. Try as many things as possible until you figure out what you're rad at and you like, and go fucking do that for the rest of your life and stop giving up. You just asked a real important question. Something I really hope people can understand. It's gonna be really real. Please pay attention to this one thing. The only way I've seen, now that I'm older, that you can build confidence is if you surround yourself with people that are optimistic. It's just super real. It's super hard what I'm about to say to you. everybody in this room needs to cut out as much of the noise and time with people that are negative and spend as much time with people that are positive. And I'm not talking about positive as like, there's people in the toughest situations that are optimistic and positive, and there's the people that have the most in the world that are pessimistic and negative. This isn't where you're at or what you got. This are the people that you're sitting with at school, on the bus, the shelter, here, right now. Are they saying how shitty everything is? Or are they talking about how to get the fuck out? Get rid of everybody who says it's shitty, including family members. I'm not kidding. Doesn't mean run away from home. But kinda. There's only one way to build confidence, my guy. It's having people that are reinforcing good things to you. It's brainwashing shit, for real.